Well, feel like it's been a while since we played, since Central Florida. Obviously it was a great win for us. I said this after the game. Proud of our guys the way they bounced back. A lot of bad things in that first game, and but they didn't let it affect them the second one. We learned from it. We came back, had a great week of practice, went down there. We didn't play perfect by any means. Felt like several plays we left on the field that we could have done better after going back and watching the film. But nevertheless, I think we were second half. Defense came out and really just shut them down and kept them out of the end zone. They missed a field goal. We hit a couple field goals to win it. But again, great win for us. And now we got Florida State coming in. We're excited about this opportunity. We know they've done great in the first two games. Big win against LSU, and they playing well. I think Jordan Travis is playing very poised, throwing the ball good. They have some excellent running backs. Offensive line seems to be better this year, a year older. I think better there, and they got some transfer wide receivers, big wide receivers. I think one of them 6'7", 230. Even their slot receiver is kind of a muscle-bound slot receiver. Physical players out there, and defensively, got some experience back. Both safeties, I think, are really good players. Both D tackles, really big, over 330 and 318. There on the inside, and then impact transfer at defensive end for them. Number 5, I think his last name's Verse. Very good player, and impacted the game. I think he had a blocked field goal against LSU, had a couple of sacks. He's an impact player. So, I think you look at the special teams, man, really probably won them the game against LSU. 2 muff punts LSU had, and then they get blocked field goal and block extra point. So huge part of the game. Again, we're excited about playing at home. We haven't been here, I feel like in a long time, and we're glad to be playing here in a normal week as far as time goes and not having that short week. So, we're looking forward to it. So with that, I'll just open it up for questions.
Scott, Friday night games have always been kind of a cool thing around here. Do you like those kind of games? And you've had a couple in this stadium. It does seem to get, a little crazier on Friday nights.
Yeah, I mean, I like the excitement and the energy you feel, from that. If I had to pick, I'd pick Saturday night, But I think there is something special about it. The fact that, usually when you're playing on Friday night, there's not many college games that are on throughout the country. You're usually on a national television, so I think that all that stuff's positive. But again, for me, it's high school is Friday night, and college is Saturday. But we really don't have any control of that. But we like the energy that I think that'll be out there, and hopefully a great crowd here Friday night.
Scott, your team obviously improved from the. Okay.
You mentioned last night with Paul and your coaches show that you turn in a few plays to get clarifications on rulings. What is the process like after that? Do you get an explanation? Have you got an explanation on why it wasn't targeting on Ford?
On Ford? Yeah. Yeah, we do. So what you do, we go through the game, and whether a play was called a penalty or not, we can turn it in, because really we're just trying to learn. You're trying to figure out what they're seeing, what we're seeing. And more than anything, it's that. And we did turn that one in. And you go back and look at the film, and it was a close call. They called targeting on the field. It seemed like they reviewed that forever, and they came back and said no targeting. On the film, their defender hits Ford in the face mask with the back of his helmet, not the crown, not the top. And I think that's why they overturned it. And the explanation we got back was that it was the back of his helmet that kind of scraped him. The other thing was the defender kind of went to the sideline. Ford was going vertically. He goes to the sideline. He kind of scrapes him. I think if he come right at him like this, we probably would have got it. Again, it was close. It was a very close call. They said they agreed with the non-targeting on that particular play. Again, that things happen fast, and then you go back and they watch it on the replay, and I think actually it goes back to Greensboro. So Greensboro's got it. I mean, the the targeting thing we can debate forever. I think, I don't think anybody truly knows what targeting is. I think if you see it, you know it. If it's helmet to helmet, that kind of thing. But that was I could see why they didn't make that targeting.
Yeah, your team obviously improved from the first week to the second. What are the points of emphasis or the areas you really feel like you need to improve on this week?
Man, we got to get a lot better at just playing more disciplined football, and I think that's the penalties. I think we've not been good in the red zone offensively. Well, I think we've had maybe 3 or 4 red zone penalties that have knocked us out of that. And you get long yardage in the red zone, it's hard to overcome. I think defensively last week, 2 times we jump off sides, one on 4th down that gives them a first down. The other one on 3rd down, they end up throwing an interception, and we're all sides. We just got to play a lot cleaner football. I think anytime you're going to get in these close games, and you don't want to beat yourself. And I think very easily could have happened last game, and it certainly happened the first game. We turned the ball over and penalties. So we got to play cleaner football. And that's just focus and every day in practice, and continuing to focus throughout the game and not have those things happen to us.
Coach, we've seen obviously a lot of Tyon, saw a little bit Jalen and Jawar. We haven't seen Travion yet. I was just curious what his status is on potentially carrying the rock.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see Cooley this week. I think he'll be back, and he's practiced well yesterday, practiced hard. I think he'll be in there. I think you'll see probably more Jordan as well. I think he maybe had 3 carries last week. Try to get him a few more carries as well. So, I do think Cooley, will get an opportunity, which he hadn't really in the first couple of games. So I do think he'll be back out.
Now with a regular week, you're able to give them a day off. They come back, and they come back off a win. What's been the demeanor of this team in practice, especially on defense, where there has to be more confidence?
Yeah, I thought that yesterday defensively they had a really good day. Still high intensity, flying around. We were in full pads yesterday. I think the energy level way better in this last contest, which we got to continue to bring, and I think that's what we want in practice, and then we did that yesterday. Particularly on the defensive side. The offensive side wasn't as good as the defensive side yesterday, but again, just having that energy, flying around. I think the sideline was way better in the second game compared to the first. More focus, guys pulling for each other, all those type things we got to continue this week, and then feed off our crowd. I think the one thing, the last 2 games, it's been great home field advantages for both of those teams. Anybody that was in both of those stadiums, Syracuse was really loud and disrupted our offense. Same thing with this past weekend. It was a great environment. Definitely an advantage for the home teams there. I think that's why Central Florida, their record's been the way it's been the last 6 years there. So we got to use that for our advantage here as well, to have a hostile environment, hostile crowd, disrupt the other team. It takes a few plays, and all of a sudden now they're knocking off the sticks. What Florida State does really well, they've been staying on the sticks. I think they're one of the better teams on 3rd down. I think they're averaging 3rd and 5. If you're averaging 3rd and 5, then you got an opportunity to pick up a lot of first downs. So hopefully we can knock them off the sticks a little bit, and hopefully the crowd here will help that out.
Slightly off topic, but 2 things. One, as a former coach and alum of App State, your reaction to them beating Texas A&M, and secondly, as somebody who's been in the business for a while, your reaction and how much the business has changed when you see like a coach like Scott Frost get fired like 3 games into the season.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, it's not surprising that App went and won that game. That program think they can go play anybody, anywhere, and go win, and they had a great game plan, occupied the ball, and held A&M to 178 yards or 86 yards, whatever it was, and won the turnover margin. So it happened not only at App State. Marshall did it at Notre Dame, Georgia Southern did it at Nebraska. So I think what's happening right now, and it's particularly when you got the transfers. You never, like I heard yesterday, I think Marshall has 24 newcomers coming in. You don't know what kind of team they have. And they go up there and beat a Notre Dame team at their place. So, as far as you mentioned Nebraska and Scott Frost, I don't like it. I don't know what you're accomplishing by firing somebody in week 3, in my personal opinion. Let him finish, his job this year, and if it's not good enough, then toward the end of the year maybe you make a move. But after three games, that doesn't make sense to me.
Scott, in the offseason, you talked about the defensive backs and secondary help. The other night, Brownlee and
Yeah.
Riley were in the middle of it. Seemed like everything. Can you just speak to what they have brought to this team, though,
Yeah.
especially those two?
You know, it's neat. We're watching Florida State, and Brownlee was playing against us last year, very aggressive, and I don't know how many tackles he had against us last year, but quite a few. And but he did it the other night. Some great plays, particularly in the boundary. They were trying to attack in the boundary there. They hit one pass on him, but other than that, I thought he did excellent. And gets an interception, and he's got a club on his hand, and he still gets an interception in the game, which is tremendous. And Quincy made some great plays as well. Had the interception on the offsides play, and then almost had another interception in the game. And I mentioned him in camp, how he's probably has the best hands in the secondary back there, making those interceptions. And but yeah, they've been great additions, and it gives us more depth. We're able to move Trey Clark around. We can put him at corner, put him at nickel. Chandler Jones the same way. So I mean, it just gives us a little bit more flexibility in the back end there, and and I think we got to continue to use all those guys in those positions and move them around, utilize their strengths, and put them in positions to be able to make plays, and it gives us a lot more versatility.
Scott, you mentioned on Friday night after the game about just kind of letting Malik do what he does and, be himself. I guess what's that balance of, wanting him to run and get those yards and be himself, but also still developing him to be that pocket passer and get comfortable there?
Well, I mean, he's got to throw the ball better. There's no question. When we had some plays the other night we could have hit and extended some drives. He was excellent in the run game, did a great job with that, and it's big plays. I mean, the long touchdown run really, got us into the game there and kind of broke the game open. But we do have to throw the ball better, which is no question about that. I mean, I think utilizing our receivers more, getting Wiggins more involved, Amari more involved. T. Huddy's getting some opportunities, some touches, but getting some other guys involved. Ford, we tried to get Ford involved last week in Central Florida. I think we did a few times, but really, trying to spread that ball out. Braden Smith as well. So there is opportunities out there. We got to take advantage of them, and Malik's got to continue to work and get it, and hopefully it'll happen this week. We'll be able to open it up and get the pass game going.
Scott, back to App State for a minute. How do you think they've been able to sustain that kind of success through different divisions? I mean, you've been a part of that, and how do you sell the program to an outsider, looking at what they've accomplished?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very unique place, and unless you've been there, you really don't understand it. It's an isolated school. You can't get there unless you're going there. You just don't ride by this school. It's a small town of 25,000 people that live there, and we got 20,000 students that come there. So I mean, that's half the town is students. So I think in recruiting process, when you go to App, you either love it or hate it, and they find out early if they want to go there. And so when they go there, you're going to do two things. You're going to get your education. You're going to play ball. There's nothing else really to do. And so the people that are there is about playing ball. And that's why when you put the ball down, they're ready to play. I mean, really, there's no distractions. And I think that's a huge thing that people don't really fully realize that. And the kids there, they play with a chip on their shoulder every day, because a lot of those kids were not recruited by the Texas A&Ms and the Michigans in the big schools, and they have something to prove every time they go out on the field. And I think that's why they've always had success there.
Coach, I'm curious, which one is more difficult for you, to get guys to continue to play well or to correct mistakes?
Well, I think probably just getting them to play at a high level all the time. I think because when you are having some success and you're doing good, sometimes it's easy to relax and think it's just going to happen again, but it doesn't work that way. I mean, so you have to bring it every day. You have to stay focused every single time you're out there on the field, and it's because it's not just going to happen. And I think that's why we see the parity we see in college football on game days, because sometimes these guys that are 18 to 22 don't show up. Sometimes they think it's just going to happen. And then you see the upsets like we saw this past weekend, and you see a team that maybe one week will come out and look great, the next week they're a little bit flat. They don't look as good. because it's hard to maintain that level of consistency every single day. So I think that's probably the hardest thing.
Scott, one of the things that you have talked about just this start to the season, playing Friday game, just as you say, that tough stretch. I guess on the same token, it's been almost, 2 weeks since Florida State has played. But for you all, do you like the fact that you've been able to play this number of games, or do you think maybe more practice? Speaking of which, I guess the health of the team.
Yeah, I think you'd like just to have a normal routine. You like just to have a 7-day turnaround before you play and just keep that going. Sometimes I think bye weeks can hurt, a little bit. What it does help is injuries. It does help the fact that you can stay healthy. But what's tough is when you have a 6-day turnaround in back-to-back road games. That's hard. I mean, you still feel the effects of that. But I think just a normal routine is what you like. And as far as the health of our team, I think, we're pretty solid right now, the health of the team. We came out of that game pretty healthy. Mitchell right now is a question mark. He got a lower leg injury in the game. So that remains to be seen where he's at, but he'd be a question mark. But other than that, I think we're pretty healthy. But we'll see how it goes. But again, a normal routine is good. This weekend we came back. We had, Saturday was our Sunday practice, and of course yesterday was a Monday, but it's Tuesday. I mean, we don't even know what day of the week it is, because playing these Friday games or whatever. But yeah, again, a normal week for us. But today is a Wednesday practice, and so then tomorrow's a no sweat Thursday, and then we're ready to go. So.
Scott, you talked a little about their defense, but can you kind of speak to they're so big up front, and then Verse in the first 2 games has made a ton of plays, and he's not the biggest guy, but he kind of plays off those other ones.
Plays big. The 2 D tackles that we played against last year, and even the backups that come in are solid. They're I don't know, 330 something and 320. What they do is create a great push right there. It's hard for your interior lineman to get off on the backers, and then their backers can run. 15 and can't remember the other number of the linebacker, maybe 7. They can run. 4, number 4. 15 and 4, and so they'll allow those linebackers to run free and go make those plays on those running backs, and that's where they're very effective. And what 5 has been able to do is cause havocs off the edge. He took LSU's tackle back in the backfield the very first play of the game. I mean, just straight back in the backfield, and then I think he had a couple sacks other than that, and then the block kick. I mean, he just plays with a lot of effort, and he has a lot of talent. It's a great pickup from Albany, where he came from, and he's an impact player, similar to what they had last year when they had the number 11 that came in from Georgia that ended up being ACC player, defensive player of the year. This guy is very good. He's a very good player. All right. Thanks, guys.